Hi y'all, this is Eva from the book blog astripedarmchair.wordpress.com, and as always I'm going to talk about my library loot this week. I almost didn't record a vlog because I just realized that today is Tuesday and I'm doing a marathon cleaning laundry session, so I didn't bother doing my hair or makeup, and I'm wearing leftover clothes, so I was feeling a little self-conscious. Then I realized how ridiculous it would be to not talk about books just because of the way that I looked. And y'all are my friends, so I'm sure that you won't judge me. So, first up is, whoops, I almost forgot. I moved my usual vlogging spot so that y'all could admire our Christmas tree, or at least half of it. I love Christmas trees. I turned the lights on, although I'm not sure if you'll be able to see them because I had to use the low light boost on my webcam since we have no sunshine today. So yeah, hopefully you can admire all of that while I'm talking. First up is Soldier's Heart by Elizabeth Samet. Ooh, there's some weird glare going on. There we go. I saw this in Barnes & Noble forever ago, and it caught my eye because Samet is an English professor at West Point, and I love reading, and I'm a military brat, even though I'm an Air Force brat, not the Army. So I thought that it would be really interesting. I'm actually going to start that after I read the next 50 pages of Moby Dick, so I'll let you know how it goes. Next, The Long March, The True Story of Communist China's Founding Myth by Sun Xiun. This is for the China Challenge. I'm always excited when I find nonfiction by authors of color. And since any of the nonfiction books I've read about China have been by Americans, albeit one was by a Chinese American, I'm really curious about what a Chinese person has to say about their culture. Then there are two books that go together, but we'll talk about the interlibrary loan one first. I have to make sure my name's covered. The Travels of Ibn Battuta, which I don't know how to speak Arabic. Anyway, it's edited by Tim McIntosh Smith. It's for the Really Old Classics Challenge. It's a travelogue from the 1300s, and he leaves Tangier and sets out to Mecca. So I'm really excited about this. Rob of Rob Around Books gave it a really good review. And he also talked about the book that goes with it, Travels with a Tangerine, which is by Tim McIntosh Smith, who's the editor of this one, and it's subtitled A Journey in the Footnotes of Ibn Battuta, which, first of all, a journey in footnotes, I'm so there. But second of all, I thought it'd be really fun to read the two books together. They're like little friends. So, yeah. I've always wanted to read a fiction and nonfiction book together, and I've read them like close in time, but I haven't read them exactly together. And the Travels one that I had to ILL is due back January 4th, so they might be two of my first reads of 2010. That number freaks me out. Okay. Next up is The Girl in the Picture by Denise Chong, which was on my Canada Reads list, but I really just got it because I wanted some nonfiction, because I'm pretty much done with that challenge. Do you see that incredibly horrific, depressing picture? That's from the Vietnam War, and I'm fairly certain it won a Pulitzer. And it really brought to the American public's attention what napalm is and what was going on over there. But Denise Chong has looked at the girl herself and how she was victimized not only by the war but also by this photograph, which I completely agree with. I'm very interested in the ethics of photography. So I'm sure this will be a really, really hard read. I mean, war is awful. Sorry. I can't look. Okay. I'm just not going to look at the picture anymore. We'll look at the back. Anyway, and it just sounds so amazing. And she wrote another book, The Concubine's Children, which is also nonfiction. I think it's more of a memoir. It's a family history. So I have more books by her to read as long as I enjoy it. Dancing in the Dark, A Cultural History of the Great Depression by Maureen Dixting. I don't know much about the 30s, historically speaking, but almost all of my favorite old movies come from the 30s. And, you know, in cinema, 1939 is considered like the golden year of Hollywood. So I'm really curious to know more about what was going on outside of Hollywood. And this just sounded interesting. I like the dancing girls up on top. I had no clue how huge it was, so we'll see if I actually get to it. These are all part of when I went on a nonfiction rampage because I needed more of it to balance out all the fiction books I have from the library. Then there's Einstein's Dreams by Alan Lightman. You can see how small a book it is since it fits in my hand. And the writing's really big, too. This is for the Dewey's Books Challenge. I didn't want to end that challenge with The Elegance of the Hedgehog since I had very mixed feelings about that book. And this one is so short that I should be able to read it before the year ends. And I think it's like another philosophy fiction book, so we'll see. But, I mean, Salman Rushdie has compared it to Italo Calvino, and I like both those authors. And Lightman is a physicist at MIT. So we'll see. Then there's The Magician's Elephant by Kate Is it DeCamillo or DeCamillo? I don't know. I'm guessing Camillo. Anyway, I've seen a lot of good reviews of this. I haven't read anything by her before. And this is a children's book, so it's pretty short. I've been on the hold list at my library for a long time. Then there's two books that are about teaching, since I'm working on my certification for elementary school teaching. The Girl with the Brown Crayon by Vivian Gusine Paley, which I thought would be a lot longer. So I was thinking that maybe it's a children's book, but then I saw that it was awarded a Harvard University Press Prize for Outstanding Publication about Education and Society. So I think that it's for adults. We'll see. And The First Days of School by Harry Wong. This is a classroom management book, and it's for my alternative certification program. I'm sure at some point I'll end up buying it myself, but for now I figured I'd check it out from the library. And my very last book is one that I'm very excited about, even though I had to interlibrary loan it and all the paperwork really obscures the cover. But you might be able to tell from the back and the spine and the beautiful gray color that it's a Persephone. That's how I say Persephone. I don't know. I think other people say Persephone. I think that's the problem with reading a lot and not necessarily hearing the words out loud, is that you get your own pronunciation stuck in your head and then you refuse to change it. Anyway, a lot of people really love Persephone books, and I've been wanting to read one for a long time, but my library doesn't have any. And then there was this Persephone Secret Santa that made me really sad that I was unemployed, so I couldn't responsibly take part in it. But then I suddenly realized that I could interlibrary loan them. So I got Someone at a Distance by Dorothy Whipple, which has a quote from Sarah Waters on the back, and I love Sarah Waters, so that's exciting. And I really like the author's Marcel Waves. I wish that I knew how to do that, and that I could pull it off. Because, yeah, waves are awesome. And then I have 2 DVDs, which are to entertain me with my crocheting. I actually happen to have it here. For Christmas, I got this beautiful red bamboo yarn, and I decided to crochet my mom, my sister, my niece, and I all matching hats, because my mom and my niece liked the idea, so it'll be a surprise for my sister. And I'm making red berets. Do you see the little bow? I love bows. I'm going to sew that more. I would try it on, but this is my second edition of this blog, and I tried it on in the first one, and since I have a braid and a bun going on right now, I kind of looked like a cafeteria lunch lady. So we're going to skip that. But yeah, I have one more adult one to make, and one 3-year-old one to make by Saturday. We're celebrating Christmas a day late this year because my sister's fiance works the 24th, and they have to come up here from Texas. So, I have Gosford Park, which is one of my favorite movies ever. I have no clue why I don't own it. It's this great historical mystery upstairs downstairs thing. It's got a wonderful ensemble cast, and you know, Stephen Fry plays one of the characters, and I love Stephen Fry. I'm sure you do too. Then there's White Sargasso Sea. I read the book and I didn't really love it. I think the premise was a lot more interesting than the execution, but I do love historical movies, and since I'm not overly attached to the book, I figure that I'll enjoy any kind of liberties that they take with it. And that's all this week. I would say that's all for the year, but since next Wednesday is the 30th, I'll probably have 1 or 2 other books. I cannot resist the library. But thanks so much for listening to me, and happy holidays if you're celebrating any of them. And bye!